Both from Florida. I believe, I'm not positive, but I believe these guys actually drove up together.
Okay, so presumably this is a matchup they both have played before. You see Logan's on Mono Blue Devotion, Steven's on Jund Monsters. Typically a matchup that's favored Mono Blue, but we have seen Steven Mann defeat these odds already once today. We'll see if he can do it again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Steven Mann has been playing this deck for a good long while. He knows what he's doing. Having said that, Logan Mize no slash himself. And very much experienced with Mono Blue Devotion in his own right.
A little bit of reprieve, no one drop for Logan there. Steven actually gets the first creature on the table. It's Elvish Mystic, but Logan gets to follow up here with Frostburn Weird.
Yeah, this man gets to stick his Elvish Mystic and gets to keep it untapped.
Yeah, so in this matchup, you would assume that these players know like what each other's playing before they start playing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm wondering, I'm looking at Logan's hand, looks like he's kept his hand based on the strength of Master of Waves, which seems pretty reasonable. In this matchup, there actually are not too many ways that Steven Mann has that can deal with Master of Waves. You know, his removal are Mizium Mortars and Dreadbore.
Yeah, basically nothing except for Pulchronos.
Right.
With Pulchronos, it's an answer. It works.
It does work.
But you've got to get it out kind of ahead of schedule.
Yeah, it's like you need it and you need it now, because if you don't, the punishment's pretty big.
Yeah, well, in a sense, not only do you need it, you need it before the Master Waves even hits. Because if Master Waves comes down, it's going to be very rare that you have enough mana to play it and activate it for one.
Right. We see a swing with Frostburn Weird from Logan. He's going to then play a post-combat Cloudfin Raptor and a Mutavault. So like I said, kind of an awkward opening for him, but it looks like he has a Master Waves and at least one Bident in his hand. He may have that awkward second Bident.
Yeah, so it has the power cards. Does he have a fourth land?
I don't know if he has the fourth land.
That's going to be another kind of bottleneck that he's going to have to overcome. So Steven Mann with the tapped land, so not going to get into the power 4-drops.
One more turn of development before the hitters start coming in.
Yeah. Those temples, they do have a price.
Yeah. A little bit of an interesting note on the deck construction from Logan Mize. Going a little bit off the path from Mono Blue, as much as I suppose you can with a deck like this.
Yeah.
Not running the Nykthos at all, and as a result, not running any Cyclonic Rifts. For his kind of 8 flexible slots in the deck, he's gone with a full set of Rapid Hybridizations, and then double Bident and 2 Domestications. So I feel like it's more Rapids than you normally see, and 2 Bidents we haven't actually seen for a while in the main of these style decks.
Yeah. I think that cutting the Nykthos is... that's something that has made sense to me for a long time in these decks. These decks mulligan because of Mutavault a lot. They are very blue mana intensive. So I have not trusted Nykthos in Mono Blue Devotions from day one, honestly.
I love playing Nykthos in the deck, and that's not for competitive reasons. That's just because I like it when everything comes together and you just get to make sweet plays.
Sure, a combo player at heart.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I like, you know, nothing like just casting your entire hand all in one turn. We do see he Dreadbores away at the Frostburn Weird, leaving Logan with just a 0-1 flyer, and Steven swings in.
So gets to make use of his mana at the very least.
Yeah.
And yeah, as we mentioned, those Dreadbores not so effective against Master of Waves, so.
Pretty huge brick here for Logan. He did not hit his 4th land. His hand isn't even helping. It's 2 Night Veil Specters, 2 Bidents, and a Master of Waves. The entire thing is uncastable.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? This Mutavault.
That Mutavault. Oh yeah.
Just trolling him now.
This happens more often than I would care to admit in Mono Blue.
And the problem is, like, it happens so often that I would even consider that maybe 4 Mutavaults is too many. Except I don't think you're allowed to do that, in the sense that they're the most important card against the Sphinx's Revelation decks.
Yeah, well, what I actually think is that were you to look at Mono Blue as a deck and its curve, I think Mono Blue is like reasonably a 21 land deck. So when you say, why does Mono Blue take 25 lands? That's a ton of lands for like a 1-drop, 2-drop aggro deck. I'm like, well, if you think of the Mutavaults as almost pseudo spells in the deck.
Right, which they are.
Which they are. So like, what that means though, if you're gonna look at it that way, is that Logan kept a 2-lander, not a 3-lander here.
Sure.
Or like he kept a 2.5-lander if you're willing to go off into theory crafting land.
Right. So yeah, this man's just gonna attack, play a tap Stomping Ground and pass. So a hand of reactive spells.
Yeah, Logan has some time here actually. This is, of all the ways he could be punished for missing his 4th land drop, he's making off pretty light with just taking damage.
Yeah, and we talked about how Steven Mann did not have a good answer to Master of Waves. Pointing out that his removal spells are red. He has 4 Dreadbore and 4 Mizium Mortars. Mizium Mortars is technically sort of an answer to Master of Waves.
Yeah, so you're right. So if you get late enough in the game and you have triple red, you can answer the Master Waves more or less with Mizium Mortars.
Yeah, and by late in the game, I think what you mean is a turn from now.
Yeah, we also need to like not to have Judge's Familiar. There's like a lot of ifs, but We see the play for Logan that turn. It was Tidebinder Mage. Didn't have the 4th land yet, was able to utilize double blue. He's tapping down Scavenging Ooze, and as a bonus, got to turn Cloudfin Raptor into a 1/2. And there you go.
Yeah, not going to keep any of them.
And if you look at Mann's hand, he got 3 more cards. They are another Mizium Mortars, a Dreadbore, and then Temple.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of reactivity and enough pressure. Scavenging Ooze is... It's a 3/3 now. It's going to get bigger. We just killed some animals.
Right. Logan once again misses the 4th land. He does draw Rapid Hybridization, which means he'll get to fog that Ooze for a turn.
Yeah.
And because of what you said with all these things that are dead, he's probably going to have to do something like that.
Yeah, Logan just stoic as ever. He's like, okay, attack you for 2. Go.
Drop for turn from Steven was Elvish Mystic. So I still feel like Logan's lucking out a bit here that Steven's not just doing something like Nissa, make a 4/4.
Yeah, definitely. Steven has so many plays that will just close this out completely right now.
Yeah, and instead of play, swing both creatures, eat the entire graveyard, make Ooze a 5/5, and there you go. It's no longer an Ooze, but a Frog Lizard.
It's still the biggest creature on the table.
Yeah, actually, still of reasonable size here.
Yeah. And so Logan's going to fall to 12.
Which comfortable.
Yeah, not so bad. But I mean, he's still several turns away from being in it again.
Yeah, the big problem is that when he starts playing things, Steven's just going to kill them all as he plays them. And so what Logan has to do to get around that is he has to just like play out like Master of Waves as 2 creatures. Like it's not clear that even once he hits the lands that Logan can do anything of note.
Yeah, and Steven Mann kept on top with his Temple of Abandon, which is bad news for Logan.
Logan with the draw, still not land. I think it was another Master of Waves.
Okay, sure.
I think this has just like getting comical.
Powerful spells, a full house, or 3
pairs.
Okay.
It might be a Tidebinder. I'm not positive. Maybe he has a play here.
Tidebinder is the nut here.
All right, there we go. Tidebinder.
Yeah, okay.
It just stabilizes the board. Locks down Frog Lizard.
Yeah, Tidebinder's fine.
As long as Steven Mann just has 3 more lands and draws a land, which he scryed to the top, which would be strange.
Oh, and there's Pulachronos. So,
well,
yeah, that, as we mentioned, Pulachronos, the one answer in Steven's deck, 2 a Master of Waves. It is something that you kind of have to have in play preemptively. Because, you know, of course, if Logan sees a Pulachronos sitting in play and wait, then you can't just jam Master Waves into it. You've got to find your Rapid Hybridization first. Maybe you can't, but either way, Steven Mann has it now.
Yeah, well, he's up so many land drops that just gets to bully here. Uses 2 mana to Dreadbore away. The Tidebinder Mage uses 4 more to play Pulachronos, swings 2 Elvish Mystics. And now he has 10 power on the board. Logan is at 10. Logan has treaded water for quite a while in hope of hitting that land, but 3rd Night Veil Spectre. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Here we go. 1, 2.
Has it all.
1, 2, 3.
There we go.
Biden, Master Race, a sweet hand of castable things, and we're on to game 2. It's just like... It just kind of went from like what is it? His keep had all 3 lands in it, first of all. It's just like, yeah, this is reasonable, right? I got a curve, I got some sweet late game, and then just really didn't go how he played.
Yeah, and these guys, you can see them just kind of like laughing about it. Like I said, these guys have been friends for a while. They experience variance, I think, laughingly. And Logan basically just saying old maid.
It's like one of those interesting things when you play Magic. There's like this, you go through this relationship with like the variance of the game where like at the beginning you don't really notice it because you're just kind of new and learning, and then you start playing a lot and it gets really frustrating. And then eventually you just get this stoic thing where you're like kind of accept that the game's going to variance you, and you just kind of like chuckle and you're like, boy, what? That sure was funny.
I'm trying to remember who it is named after. There's the kind of the graph with the curve of like how well you handle variance relative to like how experienced you are in Magic. I want to say it's Eric Levin. It's a judge. I don't remember the name, but
it's that same idea. That eventually,
it's called the Levin Trench, which is like when you first start playing Magic, you are the brightest, chipperest. It's like who cares? I'm playing Magic. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And then as you get into like the kind of like PTQ grinder level, it's like when you lose, you're just like
you're gonna lose. Yeah. What's gonna happen? It's like someday you're gonna get a really important match. You're playing for a lot, and then you're just gonna mull to 5, and you're gonna mull to 5, and your opponent's gonna nut you, and you're just gonna be like, boy, why do I play this stupid game?
Yeah, like the idea is that like the middling level player is the most unpleasant, but then like as you get out of that, you eventually go back to being very pleasant.
Yeah, like
and these players certainly have gotten back out of the trench, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. So eventually I got to a point, like, now it's like whenever I get something like bad variance or I lose a match I don't think I'm going to lose, I kind of like just have everything in my head where it's like, like, this isn't like the worst defeat I've ever suffered. This isn't the worst match I've played. I've gotten variance way harder than this before.
Yeah.
Like,
and Logan basically just knows, like, well, whatever, we can bounce back. Let's Logan basically going to shrug it off and carry on. Taking a look, he has access to Domestication, Claustrophobia, Dissolve, Negate, Gainsay, and Bident of Thassa. I do like Negate quite a bit against the Planeswalker heavy versions of these decks that have emerged, the 4 Nissa versions.
So last time we saw this, there was this was an interesting situation that happened in the post-board match of Mono Blue. So you have access to up to 4 Dissolve and 4 Negate, right? And all those could be good against Jund. But we saw the situation where you can over sideboard here. The Mono Blue player got a couple threats in play and then sat back on a Negate. But the problem was his opponent just slammed a Mistcutter for 5. And okay, you can't dissolve it, you can't negate it. And then suddenly he was actually just losing the race on board.
Right.
So the fact that your opponent's bringing in 4 Mistcutters means I think you have to be pretty conservative with your board plan here.
Just to make sure you are always being proactive.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I could see that being a problem then.
Things I like, I wonder, I don't know. I've always been up in the air on whether or not I like cards like Domestication in this matchup. I like Stealing Corsair Crucifix, but that might just be because I'm way too in love with card advantage. What are your thoughts on that card in this matchup?
So yeah, if I'm Sman, I would board out the Corsairs, but that's just because I wouldn't have played them in the first place, I don't think.
Okay, so what if I steal your Rabble Master that you would have been playing in that slot with Domestication?
Yeah, that's a blowout. I don't know what to do about that. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, no, I love Domestication here. Yeah, even when it doesn't get your marquee domesticatable, even when it doesn't get the 3-drop. Being able to get Elvis Mystic is big. Being able to get Scavenging Ooze is big. Even if all you're taking is a Satyr from Xenagos, you're buying a chump block against a Mistcutter too, which is a pretty big deal.
And that's one of the things, the fact that you can steal their green things and throw them in front of Mistcutters, while that seems really corner case, actually comes up more than I would think.
Yeah, I remember back around the time of Proto Theros in Dublin. I was jamming these Mistcutter Hydras. Mono Blue had first kind of become a thing, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, we have Mistcutter Hydra. What are they going to do? Then, flukest of fluke outcomes, he somehow ended up with a green blocker. I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
He just hit it off. Hit it off Night Veil, hit some forests, played your green cards.
Next game, did it again. Next game, domesticated my green thing. Next thing, rapid hybridization his own guys. Why does this keep happening? It's almost as if they knew this was a problem.
And you're conclusion, Mistcutter he's not even good against Mono Blue.
Yeah, which of course is not the case. But definitely if I think everyone kind of had to go through that learning process where they figured out that just 4x Mistcutter Hydra writing that on your deck list does not solve the problem.
It doesn't win the matchup. It's a great first step.
Yes. It is a game plan, but it is one that, it is not foolproof, and you do have to sculpt it to some degree.
And looking at mulligans, it looks like Logan is keeping and Mann. Steven mulliganed there.
Yeah, that was the old psych out.
I think Steven had a hand that was 1 green mana source away from being very playable. Looked like it had all the cards. The difficulty is it had all the cards you want in this matchup, and then I think it was a red-black land and a Mutavault. Well, oh gosh, can I keep this? I have a Caryatid and a Mystic and a Mortars and a Pelucranos. Well, these are great, but I sure would hate to lose before I get to play a game of Magic.
Yeah, and he is on the draw. He does get to take that 1 extra peek in his draw step to find out if he gets to play Magic. But I think the real problem here is that this is a ramp deck at heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just getting to make your land drops is when that's the best case is I get to play my lands and then cast some spells on on time, quote unquote. That's not good enough. I think you have to mulligan to Mystic and Caryatid. Maybe not in the matchup, but in the dark, those are the best cards in your opening hand. Usually.
I mean, in general, there's if you have draws that don't have Mystic or Caryatid in them, they feel pretty bad.
Yeah. If you have draws with Corsair Crucifix, they feel bad too. I'm not a fan of that card.
How do you not like that card? The card's, man. Think of all the life gain, how the blocking you can do, and all the extra cards you can get. I mean, it's like green, right? But it's doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, sort of. It blocks okay. I'll give you that. And I think this is another 1-lander.
Yeah. I don't think it's any better of a hand, but the question is, do you keep it at 6?
On the draw again, so and you do get that, you get the scry in addition to the extra draw steps. So
this one looks like he has a red-green land in it, so that part's really good because it's the right colors. The one problem with it is I don't think there's a second one.
No, there was not a second one, and I don't think there's actually a Caryatid either.
So even if you hit the land, you get to play, but you're not great.
Yep.
And I think that, to me, that line is why you send it back, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If it's got the Caryatid in it, if it's got the good cards in it, then maybe you keep the 1-lander, but.
Yep.
if your best case scenario is I get to play a mediocre game of Magic, like that might not. Maybe you have no winning draws.
Yeah. He took a peek. There, it looks like there was land spell land.
It's like land magma spray land.
Yeah. That's one of the kind of the great debates of Magic is when you take a peek after you mulligan, is that just should you be ashamed of yourself for doing that? Should you always do it? Does it matter?
What's your take? What do you do?
I'm of the PV school here, which is you should always look, but just treat it as a method of data collection.
Yes.
If you always look, then over time you start to detect a trend. So it's not about what would have happened this game. It's about what happens, mathematically in all the games.
Right, and I think I'm pretty much in the same camp. I play Magic pretty analytically, and it's like, okay, I would say more information is always better than less. But if you don't trust yourself to be emotionally stoic to that information, it's very little information, so you probably should just not do it.
Yeah, and I think
if it could tilt you, just don't.
Yeah, the big argument there is that there's likely not enough information, but I think the reality that a lot of people don't appreciate is that you just don't get a lot of information a lot of the time. You're kind of playing by feel more than most people are comfortable with.
All right, game is underway. Logan started off on the play with no one-drop. Steven did have the Elvish Mystic, which Logan tapped down with Tidebinder Mage, but Steven, with the help of Dreadbore, was able to rescue his mana source. He has Gorklan Rampager even to ramp into next turn, so we'll see. For a Mull to 5, he's got a lot going on. We'll see what Logan gets to do, though. What kind of threat he's going to prevent.
Steven is threatening with his hand. There's I got
2 cards.
They're coming. They're good.
Is it 2 or 3 left? It's 3.
Yeah.
He's on the draw.
And replacement. There we go.
Tidebinder Mage it again.
Sure.
What a beating when you're on 5 and you're just going to go at your lands.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, and the Dreadbore on Tidebinder Mage, that, I think Logan's totally fine with that too.
Yeah, that's fine. He removed a card that doesn't really matter. He got to play Mutavault that turn. We see a Scryland from Mann. His remaining cards are a Gorklan Rampager, a Mizium Mortars, and a Stomping Ground. We'll see if
he has lands to spare. So honestly, the Elvish Mystic is not the war here.
Yeah, you're not gonna. You don't think he Mortars this here? He ends up going for it.
I think maybe you Mortars there just to get 2 Blue Devotion off the board. And just keep you remove a clock to some degree. Logan still has Mutavault, but he's likely going to want to cast spells.
Yep.
So I think Mortars is fine, but yeah, you're not super excited to unlock your Elvish Mystic there.
Back to some options on Logan Mize's side of the board. He's got a clean board. He can make a Night Veil Spectre or a Thassa this turn. He's going to opt for Night Veil as he passes back. My guess is there's only so much removal Mann can have, right? He was on a Mull to 5.
Yep.
Now that you got him to spend 2 kill spells on Tidebinder Mages, let's put the real prize on the board. That's Night Veil Spectre.
So Steven just down to Gorklan Rampager. Nothing else going on. So he has the free attack, I guess.
Just swing Elvish Mystic.
Yeah. And there's a possibility that you would rather have a Rampager in place so you just don't give Logan the opportunity. Because this is, it's pretty obvious what's going on here.
If I'm Logan, would you block? I might block.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think that you're totally okay with Steven just, because he's basically spending his turn doing this, for one.
And you're trading Gorklan for my Night Veil? Well, if I have a replacement Night Veil or a Thassa or something, yeah, I'll make that trade. Why not?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the block here.
Let's do it.
Again, it looks even better than it actually is for Logan, because Logan doesn't know that Steven only has Rampager as an option.
His entire hand is Rampager.
Yeah.
So he's leaving Steven with Elvish Mystic plus lands if he makes this block.
Yeah. So,
do it. His remaining hand is Thassa, Mutavault. So it's not that much money. You have some Mutavaults, you have a Thassa, you're fine.
Yeah,
you can lose this guy.
Yeah. I think part of this equation might be the fact that, again, these guys are on camera. They've been kind of ribbing each other lightly, and the potential to get got, in a sense. That's. I think a lot of times players overthink themselves in the feature match area.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's go on the other side of it. If Logan keeps Night Veil, he takes a free point of damage, whatever. The swing doesn't matter.
Sure.
But he does get one, if he was trying to activate Thassa here, Night Veil's pretty pivotal in doing that.
Sure.
Now he's going to take the 1, and there is the Gorklan Rampager.
Right. And yeah, I think in a vacuum, you would rather just have an Elvish Mystic being the only permanent play than this board state if you're Logan.
I think so as well, but we'll see.
Yeah, Thassa might be a changer to that.
Pelukranos was the card chopped there with Night Veil. Can't play that one for a while, but Thassa, God of the Sea, joins Night Veil. And now because he saved his Night Veil, Logan is 1 blue mana symbol away from having that Gorklan covered very well.
From bringing the pain.
Yeah.
Steven takes a peek, finds another land, it looks like.
So that's going to be the plan. Logan is going to exile all of Steven's spells and let him draw lands.
Yeah, that's a reasonable plan. That pull of Chronos would have changed things.
Yeah. that was why he kept the Night Veils, so he could exile the Polukranos.
Yeah. I always love the little mini, the sub-game of resolving your temples against the Night Veil Spectre.
Oh, I know, right? You just like, you put a really bad card on top for him. That's fun. And then after thinking, when they keep it on top, and then they go to me, I'm like, what if I just don't swing the Night Veil? Then they have to draw that card they kept on top.
Yeah.
You may always end up swinging it anyway, but there's, you know,
2 damage is 2 damage, yeah.
Mutavault and Gorklan Rampager come in for Mann. Logan's going to go ahead and make the Mutavault trade. He has plenty of lands in hand. Life's probably his biggest resource.
Yeah. Yeah, and another Rampager there would have been kind of problematic, but again, I think we're at the point that you would rather just draw it out of his hand than have it in play.
Yeah, you don't want a 4/4 in play. Draw for the turn was Judge's Familiar from Logan Mize. Kind of an underwhelming creature, but not bad on this board, as now Thassa is activated.
Just needed to be a blue permanent. That's all that actually mattered.
And Logan's just going to start the race. Swinging with Thassa, Mutavault, and Night Veil Spectre. That represents possibly 9 damage here.
The mighty Judge's Familiar.
We're talking about the 4th. That's like one of the biggest strengths of Thassa is it just controls the race, right? It's great at racing, and your opponent doesn't get to decide when it stops anymore.
Right. Yeah. If you have a reasonable edge, you will keep it as long as you keep your Thassa.
Right.
Which makes these blue devotion decks they have a weird feel to them, where the games that you win are often landslides. The games that you lose are also often landslides.
And I'm gonna ask you something. Logan I believe he has the land in hand here. Right? No, he has another yeah, he has the land. He could have made Thassa unblockable that turn. No, okay, so he didn't play the land because he wanted the chance to chop a land. Gotcha, which he then did, and he gets land war wastes.
Also, does it actually change the clock?
If you push the Thassa through?
I guess it does, doesn't it?
Well, Mann's gonna go ahead and race. His draw for his Mistcutter Hydra on 4 here. He's gonna swing.
That wasn't bad.
Well, but is he dead if he swings? Hold on, okay. He's swinging for 8. Logan cannot counter swing for 12.
He would be dead if Logan had activated the Thassa to make it unblockable last turn. So that might come back to bite him. And yeah, Gorklan Rampager, a Trampler. So
he can. The second Thassa might actually come into play here, and it normally doesn't.
That's
but
fair.
He can swing Thassa, play Thassa.
All right.
Yeah, I know, right? The second one's so good. It's like 3 mana, give Thassa Vigilance.
That is that's a real line
Discard
of play
a card.
that comes about once every 10,000 games or so.
His draft for the turn was Dissolve.
And
it's good. So,
yeah.
Well, it will keep him from dying
Which he does have, so yeah.
It keeps him from dying from everything that's not another Mistcutter Hydra.
Yeah. And actually, he's insulated from another Mistcutter Hydra as well, as long as he leaves up
Mutavault.
Which means he can't attack with it, but that doesn't actually matter.
No, he can just swing Thassa this turn, and then next turn he can swing everybody. So he swings Thassa. If he swings Thassa, Night Veil this turn. Plays a land, plays Thassa again, holds up Dissolve and Mutavault. He should be covered from Steven's whole deck?
I think he needs to... He has to worry about Rampager as well. Rampager is another quote-unquote uncounterable card. And I'm not sure if...
He can do anything about it.
Yeah. I started to say he might need to leave Night Veil Spectre back, but I don't know if that helps.
Good news is that Mann's deck only plays 2 Gorklans, so that's like an actual one-outer.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, if he just doesn't attack with Night Veil Spectre, he's insulated from that as well. So, or no, he's not, because of the he can play it on the Mistcutter, so never mind. Yeah.
And he's going to make that play, leaves up the Dissolve and the Mutavault. Steven Mann, as far as you can tell, he's on a one-outer here, needs to draw the one of Gorklan Rampager. Can he do it? Probably not.
Oh, and no, even that doesn't do it. I'm wrong again, because of the Mutavault. So if Steven Mann has no play, just
you're
attacks.
Right. Nothing. He just attacks, blocks Thassa, the Gorklan, Mutavault to Mistcutter, and you're fine.
Now, at that point, if you do that, you no longer have your Resolve shield up. You could lose to Rakdos' Return, for example.
So first of all, Steven Mann has to keep in Rakdos' Return against Nagro deck.
Yeah, well, it has to board in Rakdos' Return.
Wow, look at okay. The top deck was Mistcutter Hydra.
Nice, and that again won't do it. So we played around that one.
Close though.
Yeah.
Yeah. if the order of those like Night Veil chops, Night Veil activations, and then the actual draws is Steven Mann, if you switch a couple of those, Mann actually steals that game.
Yeah, definitely. That's the power of Mistcutter Hydra. We talked about how it is not just a cure-all, but it definitely, if you curve out, develop your mana, present threats at a normal clip, it is the icing on the cake. Of all possible icings on the cake, it is the best that you have in this matchup.
All right, well, these players are sideboarding for Game 3. We're going to talk a little bit about something that started at the beginning of September, so still pretty new. This is SCG Game Night. We talked about this a little bit like at the last Invitational, how this was coming up, but this is now actually going on. So if you're wondering what this is or you haven't heard about this, this is a chance to, at your local store, to go ahead and play Star City Games Game Night, which would be any format tournament that is run at your store, and it is run where winners get these pins. As you see these beautiful squirrel pin over on the left side of the screen. Yep. Squirrel tokens given away at each game night. It's a fun and friendly event at stores. Every week there are 8 foils and 2 pins given each week. Every month we'll switch which pin and foil they are on. Right now we're going to do the original creature squirrel collection, and we're going to feature different creature collections in each month. So if it sounds like fun, store owners can obviously sign up for this, and they do that by calling in for SCG's in-store programs representative, or they can just email gamenight@starcitygames.com to go ahead and get started. And feel free to ask your local store about it and get that started.
Absolutely. I'm relieved that this program is finally taken off, because when we first started wearing those pins during the broadcast, they'd keep coming up to me like, I see these pins all the time. Those are so cute. How do I get them?
Great.
And I would be like, well, it's weird.
You can't.
You kind of can. You go to an IQ and hope it's a door prize. I don't know. Like we would send one to the IQ to be given out at the TO's discretion. So
right.
there wasn't like a clean answer for how you get one, but now there is.
Game night.
Go to Game Night, which is ideal. There should always be a clean way to get sweet squirrel pins.
Yeah, and remember, you can still sign up for November game nights. Those are still going on. So if you sign up now, you'll get to start in November.
Yeah, we have to get it a month in advance. So yeah, talk to your store now, starting in November.
Yep.
And we can get that thing off the ground.
All right, players are going back to sideboard. It looks like Logan's actually re-sideboarding here. Which I'm guessing like it's not his first time through the matchup. He's got some play draw sideboard plans going on.
Possibly. You saw him actually kind of like rifling through his sideboard and then kind of pausing, saying, nah, not that one.
Maybe not.
We're good. the actual shake your head no. Yeah, I mean, there's likely a stock sideboard for the matchup, sideboard plan. There's likely a stock plan on the play and plan on the draw. Yep. And then I think that there's maybe some kind of feinting involved here.
One thing I could see is he has and his sideboard's pretty interesting that he has 4 dissolve, 4 negate in it. And we saw dissolves that last matchup because he had one in his hand at the end. I could see when you're on the draw, because your opponent's going to be faster, changing some or all of those dissolves into negates. Just like wanting to be, thinking that like, hey, I'm going to be on the back foot a little bit because he's going to throw some mana accelerants at me. I need to be able to play creatures and hold up a counterspell, not do one or the other. Maybe negate's better at doing that if you want to keep playing.
Yeah, the other possibility is he has a dissolve against running Mistcutter Hydras in game 2 and just kind of...
I was like, this dissolve thing wasn't working out so well.
Like, this was not what I had in mind when I brought this card in. I mentioned Logan's been playing this deck. I want to say all season. I don't know. I guess I'm not actually sure for the entirety of it, but he's playing it for a while. I know I saw him playing it at the Invitational in Columbus. So this is not his first rodeo with Mono Blue Devotion by any means. So that feels like something that he would have encountered by now. Like, he would know, like, yeah, I want it. Maybe I don't. Maybe he's kind of reconsidering how many he wants.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go and say I know there's a lot of people who are like of the sideboarding on the fly camp. Mm-hmm. And a lot of very good players I know who do that.
Yeah, definitely.
I've always been on the I show up with a notebook with all my sideboarding plans in it level of the side of the field.
Right.
I like, okay, well, I played to this matchup. I played 10 games of this on Tuesday, and on Tuesday I determined this was the board plan I wanted, so that's my board plan.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of intuitive nature to this one going on, and if you are maybe you're adapting to a card you didn't expect but suddenly played against.
Yeah, I think that there's a very good argument for leaving your sideboarding plans to the individual level, and not only because you may say like, well, this is how I board against Jund monsters, but you did not anticipate a Jund monsters deck that has Guild in the sideboard, for example, as Steven Mann does.
Right.
Now that's not a card that I think particularly matters one way or another in this matchup. It's just a weird card that you don't normally see.
Yeah.
And like that, maybe not Guild, but like everybody's gonna have a weird card or two. somewhere.
And then
particularly
I have
in
to
their
say, like,
sideboards.
if I show up with a notebook that I'm not going to, like, nope, this is my plan, can't change from it, you know.
Right.
If I see a card that I didn't expect, yeah, I'll switch it up.
Yeah. So, like, you want to be prepared for, whatever you see, not just in terms of cards that exist, but also plays that might exist.
I like the one of Thoughtseize in Stephen Mann's board. 0 in the main, 1 in the board.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, it's a good card. I'm not going to say, like...
That's what I'm saying. It's a good card. Should play it, yeah. It's good against people with, spells in their hand.
Yeah. The Guild is in the spot where you'd normally see a Putrefy. It looks like what he's doing is he just switched, Putrefy is the big but pretty unconditional kill spell. It looks like you can either worry about artifacts or you can worry about indestructible creatures.
Yeah, Guild exiles, right? So that's the...
Guild hits gods.
That's the draw. All right.
You can encase a god in gold. You can't kill
Sure.
it, but you can Midas it or King Makar it. So that's our Midas of the set. All right. Anyway, Stephen Mann starts the game on Stomping Ground and then a Temple. No plays on the first 2 turns, it looks like. Logan, however, starts with Judge's Familiar, so...
So it's with the champagne of 1-drops.
Just...
The mighty Judge's Familiar. 2-time Pro Tour champion Judge's Familiar.
This is...
Of all the cards in Return to Ravnica block.
With this one, right when the spoiler came out, we said, that guy's a
absolutely.
Curse Catcher with flying. This is a winner right here. And it's a bird. It's probably better than Merfolk.
Is that the Fleecemane Lion, actually? The other 2-time Pro Tour winner from that block. Craig Wesco and Chapin.
Wesco won. Oh, it is in Chapin's deck, too,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. So it was Judge Familiar into Frostburn Weird for Logan Mize, curving out pretty perfectly so far. We'll see if he can keep it up. Courser of Crufix is the play from Mann.
Yeah, I've mentioned a few times so far this round, I'm just not a huge fan of this card.
Hey, if you'd played Rebel Master, your token just would have killed itself this turn.
No, you play it post-combat.
Okay.
There's no token, you're good.
All right. The all post-combat Rebel Master, the best kind.
Yeah, exactly.
We do see in Logan's hand, looks like a pair of rapid hybridizations along with some islands. He's got a lot of enablers. It's a pretty good hand right now. Control elements, enablers. I think it's 2 islands, 2 mutavaults, 2 rapids, though. I don't know if he has any of the heavy hitters right now.
Okay,
yeah.
Looks like just willing to trade off. Doesn't want Stephen Mann, gaining 1, potentially drawing a card.
I mean, if you're Mann, you just have to be thrilled about what just happened
here.
Yeah,
I think
his
so.
turn 3 play wasn't Night Veil, it wasn't Thassa, it was make my Frostburn trade with your Courser.
It was tap out,
phenomenal.
Undevelop my board.
Yeah, so now Pelucranos from Stephen Mann, and normally when I don't like Jund, when its first play is Courser, I'm usually not a very big fan of the deck, but I'm a fan of it this game.
Yeah, Pelucranos, I sung the praises of Judge's Familiar. I think Pelucranos is the better card.
Was it better than 2 Judge's Familiars? Because Logan's going to go ahead and make a second one here.
Yes. It's a tough call.
It's closer.
It's closer.
By about a Judge's Familiar.
Yeah. But that's, forgetting scientific. If we're going to use exact measurements, yes. It is precisely 1 Judge's Familiar better.
Whereas Pelucranos rates at about like 3.5 Judge's Familiars.
How many? It's more than 3.5. No, Pelucranos is at least 6 Judge's Familiars.
Hey, at 6 Judge's Familiars, my Thassa is just online. My Master Waves is awesome.
Okay,
my Biden of Thassa is pretty cool.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I mean, Fallen Drawing is more Judge's Familiars off the Biden. I guess that's like a little bit of a knock, but
I guess the real question, the test here is like if one player could start the game with Pelucranos, if Sman starts with Pelucranos in play, turn 0, how many Judge's Familiars does Logan need to mitigate that?
Well, I'm gonna have to chump block Pelucranos a couple of times here.
I mean, and honestly, I think it's probably less than 6 actually. I think 6
beats the Pelucranos.
Yeah, 6 beats it. Yeah.
I mean, at 6 you start doing really random things like you play like military intelligence and like ornithopters.
Oh, we're gonna build around starting with.
Yeah. I mean,
once we have it, yeah.
Once we have it, we're gonna build around it. We're gonna do something really degenerate.
Okay.
Do you ever play like Chandelar where people like start with Triskelion and play at the beginning of the game?
Yeah.
That's really hard to beat.
Yeah, I always thought that would. I feel like that is unexplored design space in Magic.
All right, Logan is gonna go ahead, and it looks like he's gonna rapid hybridize Pelucranos.
So there's one answer.
Yeah, he's blocking, and then he's blocking. Oh, well, hold on a second. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we're not completely clear what the target is of that rapid hybridization. He could be blocking and then targeting his own Judge's Familiar.
Visually, it's hard to see which one he's targeting.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's the Pelucranos.
Yeah. Yeah, and if he targets his bird, you know, Steven can just activate Pelucranos and solve that problem.
Yeah, no,
now, that plays into the other rapid hybridization.
Interesting. Mann had the option there of, instead of making this Pelucranos, he could have tapped for 3 and killed a bird in response to the rapid trigger.
Sure.
The rapid.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think the second rapid really blows up in your face if you do that.
Because wait, second rapid.
Because you don't get the frog lizard from the first one. If you respond to the Pelucranos activation with a second rapid hybridization, then
yeah.
Right. Then you know, Logan still has his Judge's Familiars. You only have the one frog.
Sure. Another Pelucranos is played by Mann, and it is also turned into a frog lizard. And here comes the Judge's Familiar combo. Nice. Biden of Thassa, boom, draw 2.
All right.
See, Judge's Familiars versus Pelucranos. Look who's winning right now.
All right, 2 Judge's Familiars and a Divination.
2 Judge's Familiars versus...
It's worth about 2 frog lizards.
I see 2 Pelucranos in the graveyard. The Judge's Familiars, they might win this battle.
Yeah, no, they're definitely pulling ahead.
Now they bring their friend Cloudfin Raptor. He's still a 0-1 right now, but he'll get bigger. He'll have his day.
Yeah, Cloudfin Raptor worth about half a Judge's Familiar. Maybe. Right now it is, yeah.
I mean, not to mention, let's not even talk about the fact that Steven Mann has a Mize Mortars in his hand. Like, Judge's Familiars having none of that.
That's fair. Yeah, well, on turn 6, Mize Mortars worth about a Judge's Familiar.
Right. So in our currency of Judge's Familiars, Mize Mortars is not even worth a Judge's. Yeah. It's worth like exactly 1 Judge's Familiar.
This is like the stock mana theory, right? It's just like how many Judge's Familiars is your card worth?
Right.
There could be deep article series is written about this.
And this is actually, I want to like just recap what we're seeing happen here. So Logan had a hand of just like 2 Judge's Familiars and just some time and not too much. And Steven Mann had a hand of double Pelucranos. But were I to look at the board right now, if I had to pick which side I'm on, I'm thinking I'd take the mono blue side right now.
I mean,
it's close.
I think I do too. Steven Mann does have some burly animals in play.
Yeah, he's got 6 power, which Logan gave him.
Yeah.
He's got a Mistcutter, but Logan actually has 2 Mutavaults, so he can chump and race this guy.
Yeah. I'm a fan of drawing 3 or 4 cards a turn.
Yeah. I wish that when I'm in this situation, when I'm playing mono blue, and I get like this when I start drawing 100 cards with Biden, that's the situation where I really like having access to Cyclonic Rift to my list, which Logan doesn't have. So, I mean, it's still probably fine. If you're drawing this many cards a turn, life is good.
That is true. And that's like a deck building decision that I feel like comes up time and time again in various forms.
Yeah.
The Nykthos, the Cyclonic Rift, that's a very definition of like a win more spot where you're like you're like looking to like you're making your card choices based on like what's good when I am triggering Biden of Thassa 3 or 4 times a turn.
Right.
Who cares? If you're doing that, just win however you feel.
So on that swing, Logan actually chump blocked a Frog Lizard with that Cloudfin Raptor.
Okay, I can get behind it.
It is -1 card because he would have been able to evolve it and swing with it.
Right. I think it's possible that Logan figures even just drawing 3 cards a turn, 2 here and then the 1 in his draw step, he is going to be able to stabilize and pull ahead given time.
Right. He just needs a card like Master of Waves really to bring this home, or Thassa. Doesn't have one yet though. He drew for that turn a Frostburn Weird and another island. So he has Island, Mutavault, Cloudfin Raptor, Frostburn Weird, and Nightveil Spectre in hand.
Okay. And
so 2 lands, a 1-drop, a 1, a 2, and a 3-drop.
Sure. But can only cast any 2 of those, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough blue mana to do though. He doesn't have 6 blue. Probably no need to play another Mutavault this turn.
No.
He probably, I imagine he wants to just like play the 1 and the 3 and leave up some Mutavaults.
Yeah, well, and if Steven starts, if he slams that Mistcutter Hydra and starts swinging in, like those Mutavaults are going to become a scarce commodity very quickly.
Yeah, those are Rio premium chump blockers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to take a lot of damage here, to be fair. So we see Cloudfin Raptor, that's the start of the turn. He can either go Mutavault, Frostburn, or he can play Nightveil. He's going to go with Frostburn Weird here and evolve it.
Okay. And that is going to, let him get the other Mutavault into play, which doesn't actually help him this turn.
Right. That's why I was thinking he was going to make the other play. But there is something to be said, like, you just want to get Mutavaults into play. And maybe the 1/4 blocker is just a better one than the 2. Like, it can block a Frog Lizard, whereas the Nightveil can't.
Yeah.
Which is pretty important.
Maybe there's an argument that you might maybe want to swing with some of the Mutavaults. That seems like a stretch. And it also seems unlikely to actually happen, given the Sylvan Carrots in play, the various Mutavault-sized or better blockers.
All right, we see Mize Mortars on top of the deck. Mann here. Oh, he has enough lands to mortars the board.
Woo.
And he can mortars it through these Judge's Familiars.
Okay.
He's got 8 mana sources.
That Mize
I didn't realize he was that high on it. I knew he had lands. I didn't realize he had that many.
Yeah, well, we didn't know about the land in hand, I guess, which that helps. Yeah, that Mize Mortars, that was worth about 30 Judge's Familiars, I think.
It was worth 2 Judge's Familiars.
Yeah, 2
and
that we
however many Judge's Familiars a Cloudfin and Frostburn Reader
I guess yeah, it's not worth 3. If he has 3, then that's not a winning play at all.
Probably like 4.5 Judge's Familiars worth of mortars. Something.
So this board,
it's got tougher.
I'm picking Sman.
Okay, well, yeah.
He's my favorite to win this game now.
I didn't realize he had so many lands. I thought we were safe from mortars. I mean, he's got to draw. Okay, he's either drawing lands or he's drawing haymakers. That's kind of what his deck does.
Yeah,
so,
I like the casual. It's coming. It just flips it over. Like likely they were talking about. Logan probably mentioned he knows the card, which he did. We saw it on top from the Course of Perfects, but yeah, Mistcutter Hydra looming in Steven's hand could potentially cause a lot of problems here. Now, Steven has this weird spot that he's in where he would like to get aggressive now that he's cleared the board. But every attack that he makes is potentially an opportunity for Logan to draw more cards.
I think he's throwing caution to the wind. Cards don't matter when life points are more important than cards at the end of the day. Here's 8 damage.
Yeah, in order to attack with all 3 Mutavaults, Logan would have to tap out. That is, I mean, he's dead if he does that.
Well, I mean, the problem is Logan has to pay 2 mana to draw a card, right? Mm-hmm. 1 to activate Mutavault and swing it.
Yeah.
And then he's got to pay for whatever card he draws.
Yep.
And then he's got to pay to chump block that Mistcutter with Mutavaults. It's like, this is just too much mana. Logan can't do all these things.
Yeah, and Tidebinder Mage off the top there for Logan, I believe. Good
draw.
Yeah, that's a good one. That definitely helps you stabilize. It is less good in the face of that Mize Mortars that we can see hanging out.
Yeah, so what he can do is he can draw a card with 1 Mutavault. He can play Tidebinder Mage, tapping something, and then he can still activate a Mutavault to chump Mistcutter. So he's like, he can live, but it's not looking good.
No.
And his draw was Island. That also doesn't look good.
Now, as you mentioned, I think that the card in mono blue devotion decks typically that gets you out of this situation is Cyclonic Rift.
Right.
Which is
not in his list.
Yes, a 0 of.
Not to say that that's wrong. Like, this is not a scenario. The Biden to thought, first of all, like, Biden's only a 2 of, right? So this isn't exactly a scenario that happens all that often because Biden doesn't even happen all that often.
Mm-hmm. So, Mize Mortars 2-hand from library. Magma Spray coming right behind.
Well, I may have to correct myself. I started saying that I thought this was a good matchup for mono blue. I said it before, and then right now Jund is 2-0 against mono blue on Gamera today.
I mean, what you actually said was mono blue is probably a favorite, but Steven Mann is a wizard.
All right, that's true.
Those were your words.
I said that you
something like that. Anyway.
You can tell by his pointy hat that he is quite the wizard here.
Yeah.
I think that was what I said.
Something like it. And yeah, as we've seen, Sman very comfortable in the matchup. Has drawn well generally, and certainly has leveraged the advantages he has found.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like some things had to break his way, right? Like a game 1, Logan actually had a pretty good hand for the matchup, but just like that was the comical one where he ended up with like
a lot of good spells,
a lot of really good spells that he never
could cast. Yeah.
And here comes Mistcutter. It's for a lot.
Yep. This is a lethal attack. Logan can throw some guys under the bus to take not quite lethal, but
to take, untap, draw a card, and then I scoop.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. Can fall to 1 here.
He's going to chump the Mistcutter, trade with Mutavault, take 8. Mm-hmm. All right.
Down to 1. Again, looking for that Cyclonic Rift.
And it's Island. He doesn't find it.
Still in his binder, unfortunately, so that's not going to help.
So I would at least start by swinging both Mutavaults here.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, man, I might draw an out.
Yeah. Maybe just 1 into the Caryatid.
Into the Caryatid, see if he sees it.
Yeah, keep him honest.
Oh, no, we're going to play Night Veil and pass the turn. Okay.
Aetherize. That's what we're representing.
See if that one works. Ooh. Oh, that'd be pretty sweet.
I played Aetherize at the Block Pro Tour. I
did as well, but it was really not a good idea.
It did some pretty good work for me, but
you were probably playing a good deck. I mean, you did. I hear you did well at that Pro Tour.
I did all right. I think I did that despite my deck, though. Honestly.
I won my draft.
Yeah,
And then I
enough.
didn't day 2.
So apparently Logan is at 4. So I'm not actually sure what we missed there. I think that maybe there was a frog that didn't attack quite as much as we thought it did.
Logan's gonna make Steven kill him. I like that. It's like, no. You have to win this.
Yeah,
he activates Biden.
That's one of the kind of kernels of Magic wisdom. Always make them kill you. Logan takes things literally sometimes.
So 2